What is up, guys? Zan from the Madden YouTube channel. Today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a clean A-gap pressure that you guys can mix in out of a defensive formation that not too many people are looking at in Madden 21. But before we get into the video, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you guys take the time to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the uploads coming your way here on the Zan Madden YouTube channel. If you guys want to take your game to the next level in Madden 21, check out my strategy site, gridirongameplans.gg. Gridiron Game Plans is your one-stop source for all things competitive Madden. Every week in our Vault Update, we take a look at the meta, or the most effective tactics available being used by pro players in the MCS circuit, breaking down not only how and why the pros do what they do, but most importantly, how you can counter those metas when you face them in online gameplay. On top of that, your subscription also includes any and every offensive and defensive game plan released on the website while your subscription is active. So head over to gridirongameplans.gg, $9.95 per month unlocks the entire website. Okay guys, let's get into today's video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Big Dime 236. Now, this is a defensive formation that is only found in 8 defensive playbooks in the game. We're going to be talking about the 3-4, Broncos, Jets, Packers, Patriots, Rams, Ravens, and Steelers. So out of those defensive playbooks that I just named, I would recommend the 3-4. The 3-4 has the nickel 2-4-5, which is the game plan that I break down in totality. And it also has the nickel 3-3-5 normal, which is a great defensive formation as well. Although the Ravens, I would say, is worth looking at because it also has nickel 3-3-5 odd, which if you guys are playing the weekend league, obviously the 3-3-5 odd loop blitz is still alive and well. So you definitely have some options of good defensive playbooks to run this tip. Now, why is the Big Dime 236 something that is so important? Well, let's take a look. Because this is a 236 defensive package, here's your 2 linemen. You've got 3 linebackers. You've got the edge rusher on the left, you've got the edge rusher on the right, and you've got this middle linebacker. Everyone else is in that 6 portion of 236 is a coverage secondary player, including your box safety, which if you notice right here, I have actually subbed in cornerback Steven Denmark at this position. Now, it is worth talking about, dime packages can be weak boxed. If you don't know what weak box means, that means anytime your opponent comes out in a 2 running back set or has 2 tight ends on the field or has a lot of beef to run the ball on the field, you cannot come out in a formation like this because your defense will automatically be slower, more sluggish, their pursuit will wane, they won't block shed, they'll basically get bullied off the ball. That's intentional to make sure that you can't like run quarters 3 deep against goal line and get stops. That's basically why that's in the game. But as it pertains to attacking offensive formations that have 3 receivers, 1 running back, and 1 tight end, which is the majority of players out there, you can get away with calling this. And the reason that I like the 236 is it's basically the spitting image of the Big Dime, the nickel 2-4-5. So if you take a look here, here's what 2-4-5 looks like. You've got 2 down linemen, 4 linebackers, and this is what the 2-3-6 looks like. It's the same formation. If you take a look at all the play calls in it, you've got the same types of coverages. Cover 3 match, cover 6 invert, Tampa 2, press quarters, 6 show 2, 3 buzz show 2, cover 9 show 2, cover 3 buzz match, palms, your zone blitz variants. It's actually got unique slant zone 2, which was a meta blitz a couple years back, cover 3 bluff, and then it's got the same zone blitzes that the 2-4-5 has, as well as in general all the different coverages. I take a look here at the 2-4-5, it's literally the same defensive formation. You take a look at all the plays, you have a corner blitz 3 here in the 2-4-5, which is nice, but basically it's the same formation with better personnel for covering the field. So the ability to go to this spot right here, realize it's a safety and you can put in corners at linebacker, is pretty useful. It's pretty useful. So let's go ahead and get into why I like this. Obviously, I do break down the 2-4-5 game plan. It's got the best pass rushing cocktail in the game. You can run that cocktail in any defensive scheme. It's worth the price of Gridiron Game Plans alone. But obviously I teach, the coverage combinations to lock down the metas like bunch and trips tight end. And I have gap shoots for all the different run formations in the game. Out of the 2-4-5, it's great to be able to take those principles and coverage and apply them to a formation that actually has better coverage personnel. Now, I know what you guys are probably thinking. You're probably saying, well, I mean, if you could put a safety at linebacker here, what's the difference? Well, the difference is that in general, safeties are a little bit stiffer than corners. You think about the best coverage safeties in the game, guys like Tyrann Mathieu, that have elite man coverage, elite zone coverage, good mobility. Even they are not as agile, typically speaking, as Deion Sanders playing linebacker. So you're going to get better man coverage. You're going to get better match coverage when they figure out who they want to match. You're going to get, in general, quicker break on ball and zone because they have better change of direction and agility. So just the ability to put any corner you want in a given situation at that spot is huge. Think about this. How many times have you given up a quick throw table route and you have a safety at linebacker manned up on the running back, and the running back, like Reggie Bush, just gets out there in the flat, and you're thinking, well, Jamal Adams is a little bit too stiff, you know, he's not able to cover him that quick on the hike throw. Well, you can put a Deion Sanders out there at that spot in the big dime 236 and you're in great shape. Now, for the purpose of this video, I play Steven Denmark, who is 92 speed and I think 94 acceleration at this spot, and I'm going to show you guys kind of how we're going to generate some pretty clean pressure here. Actually, it's a nice little pressure setup. So let's go ahead and get into it. With this particular defense, I would recommend using this on a 5-out offense, meaning 5 guys out on routes, basically no extra blockers. And if you do this correctly, what you're going to notice is that basically what you can do is pinch your defensive line, crash up, and then blitz this guy right here from depth. And you'll notice that there's kind of 2 different angles that he can blitz. One's kind of a B gap look, and one is going to loop into the A gap. This particular loop is a little bit tougher to do. What I would recommend doing with this, this is definitely a strafe method tip. So you kind of take your user and stand right here, and you just try to strafe and get the attention. And you see right there that got us free pressure off the edge. We were actually going to get B gap pressure right there, but TJ Watt won so quickly on this play that the guy who was beat then retargeted on our B gap rusher. So you see right here how this looked. We were actually getting Denmark in clean right as TJ Watt won, and then he bumped the player into the guard. But you saw how that looked right there. It looked really, really good, right? So again, you know, all we're doing with this is we're pinching. We're going to crash our defensive line up. You blitz this guy. You know, I tend to base align. This is a cover 2 defense, so you'll notice in cover 2 this tends to kind of look this way. You see right here, again, you look how clean that is. It's basically B gap, A gap from Denmark, and then you've got your edge threat or whatever pass rushing abilities you want off the edge on this as well. I'll sub out TJ Watt momentarily because I don't want him to just dominate this video, because this is more about the corner than it is anything else. But you see how quickly that guy loops into the B gap. It's really, really clean. I like this as a potential, you know, I like this as like kind of a 3rd down in 5, you know, where your opponent is going to have one route at every level of the field. They're not really looking just to throw short balls on 4th and inches. You know, this is kind of a mix-in pressure. You see right here, if I leave him all the way out wide, the results here, if I kind of just strafe up, he's blitzing from too far away. He does come in clean, but it takes a lot longer. Let me go ahead and go back and take TJ Watt out of the game here. And I want to get into some of the other, like more like the A-gap stuff here. The A-gap stuff can be a little bit more challenging to set up, but it is very, very rewarding, obviously, when you start to get it down. So let's go ahead and run cover 3 sky. I'm gonna run that here against the bunch. Same type of look here, 5 out. So right here, again, you'll notice that your nickel corner, I'm sorry, your I keep calling him a nickel corner. He's technically your dime back, is going to line up on one side or the other. If you want to flip his side, all you have to do is flip the formation. Because he's not a linebacker, he'll flip sides. So right here, you do it this way, crash up, you blitz this guy. Now you notice he's blitzing into the A gap. So now all you have to do really is just kind of play the strafe game, get the attention. And you saw right there what ends up happening is you get pass off logic to occur. Now, again, this can be a little bit more challenging. You know, here I'm going to do it this way. Now he's looping into the left A gap. You see right here, if you kind of do the strafe thing, how that opens up the A gap, that's really what we're looking for on this. So in general, you know, you're going to see that, you know, this tactic is really, really smooth if they have 5 out. And the best thing about this is, you know, this doesn't look like a blitz look. This looks like a front 4 rush. People are so used to this game being a little bit of a 2-man rush type of meta. It's more of like, you know, you spy, you 3-rec somebody, you have 2 double or nothings or 2 edge threats on the edge, and then you kind of just let those guys win for you. This is a little bit more of like taking matters into your own hands. Right here, you saw right there, he tried to hit the A-gap clean and we got like a disengage. They had to let to it go to block him. You know, you're going to kind of fiddle around with this and find out what works for you. Again, you can have these. Let me go ahead and respot the ball right there. I had him accidentally show blitz. You're going to find that in general, that blitzing dime back hits the gap super clean, which kind of harkens back to an older blitz style that I championed, I want to say in Madden 18, maybe Madden 19. If you guys remember me in Madden 19, I ran the 3-4 solid clamp double go. And what we were able to do out of that defense is we realized that in that defense, at the time, there was an out of position promo for Christmas. And what we ended up doing is we put in, you know, out of position safeties at middle linebacker. And at that point in time, there was a Landon Collins and there was an Ed Reed middle linebacker card. Both of those cards were middle linebacker cards. And what we did is we put in those out of position safety at linebacker cards in, and we realized that the guys hit the gaps cleanly, whether they looped all the way around for free pressure or they came through a B gap clean for pressure. And what they tended to do was hit the gaps clean. And what we discovered was that because those out of position safeties at linebacker were hitting the gaps clean, it was actually because their traits. They didn't have any pass rush traits. Now think about that. If you're thinking about, say, hitting a gap with a linebacker, a blitzing linebacker, linebackers typically have one of the three moves, whether it's bull rush, swim, or spin, right? And they're looking to perform those moves. And maybe they don't have the greatest finesse or power move rating, but they're still looking to execute those moves. Well, in order to do that, you have to engage an offensive lineman. That's why they get blocked. Well, back then we realized that if you had those out of position safeties and linebackers and they had no pass rushing traits, they looked to hit clean gaps as opposed to hit linemen. Well, that's kind of, in my opinion, what's going on right here, because what you'll notice is that if you try this in the 2-4-5, it doesn't work the same. Guys like typically go look at the lineman and try to get blocked, which is kind of interesting. But again, here, as you kind of try this, you can kind of just strafe around right here. You see that the pass off logic, it's either clean B gap / A gap, or a defensive tackle's coming right down central. So you kind of see how this works here. It's a little 5-man rush. Again, this isn't an every down defense, but it's something you can mix in. You see right here, because of the way that they have to pass off to pick up number 40, who's coming in at 92 speed, they have to let one of the big boys through. And that ends up with this guy coming in for a sack. So you'll take this any way you can get it. I mean, think about it this way too. Let's say that you want to run it, run it off this side, right? You blitz them right here. Maybe you contain. You can kind of fiddle around with this. Maybe you can contain, and what that will end up doing is kind of put you in a spot where you saw right there, we actually didn't get a disengage that we were looking for. But what you'll oftentimes notice is, if you get that guy clean in through the gap and you have contains, they have nowhere to go. So, kind of fiddle around and see what you can find. You see right here, like obviously they're targeting correctly, but just kind of adding that in the back of your mind. If you're getting pressure down central and you can find a way to contain, now they've got nowhere to go. They can't step up to, stay away from the edge rush. And obviously you got the pressure coming right through the middle. They can't scramble to the outside either. So, hopefully this is something that, interests you. It's not like any game breaking blitz by any means, but I think that the fact that you can get this kind of clean pressure, this kind of glitchy pressure. You may see right here how I'm able to occupy that center and get an easy pressure out of this. Can be super valuable to you because you can apply the entire 2-4-5 defensive game plan that I have on Gridiron Game Plans and have a full scheme, whether it's run defensive gap shoots, the coverage combinations, the pass rushing cocktail. You don't have to run that blitz every play, but it is a really solid blitz. It's a really, really clean blitz that should catch your opponent off guard, given that most people tend to send out 5 guys on routes. So if you guys like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, complaints, drop those below as well. Make sure you subscribe here to the channel. If you guys like this video and you guys want a little bit more, go over to gridirongameplans.gg. We'll see you guys tomorrow with our next video upload. Until then, this is Zan. Get in the lab and good luck.